Morning everyone, welcome back to the Evolve with Ella podcast. Now, today I have a question for you. When is the last time that you prioritize slowing down for yourself to do something quote unquote unproductive? I went down to my parents' house for the long weekend and I made it my priority to slow down because I felt burnt out and I was struggling to relax and enjoy my weeks. They had been feeling incredibly busy and that they were passing so fast. I can't believe we're this far into the year already. And I think it's been proven that if you do the same routine every day, your brain kind of compiles it into one, and time actually does feel like it's going a lot faster than if you switch up your routine or you make time to stop and slow down. I do really love my pets because they force me to stop and engage with them and be present, and throughout interactions they kind of make me laugh, and it's nice to have things in your life that do that for you, that kind of stop you from being productive in the moment and kind of get you to switch off for a second. Making the effort to put my computer away really gave me the brain space to get out my journals and update them, which I hadn't done for a long time because I felt like it was under the category of an unproductive task. And really all these things that I ended up doing over the long weekend felt unproductive in my head. Reading, walking the dog, playing the piano, journaling, going to the beach. I was struggling with feeling like I should be somewhere else and doing something else with my time to spend it better. But the reality is, after these activities, I felt so much more relaxed and so much more present and so much less stressed. In the process of switching off, I had ideas about things, I updated things, I figured out projects I've been working on. I was really able to have the time to think about things that were on my mind and sort through them and brainstorm. And part of that is through journaling. It really helps me to become aware of my thoughts and what I'm thinking about, so that I can catch them and tap into them and sort of get to the bottom of them. When you're busy, you can miss so many thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and you kind of don't pick up on how you feel about things or what you want to do with something because you don't have the time to think. You're just go, 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 and not living very consciously or intentionally. So I would say, in hindsight, all these activities that I was labeling as unproductive were actually incredibly productive for me because I got further in my progress in the outcome-focused areas of my life because I actually stepped away from them. So in hindsight, all the activities that I did over this long weekend were actually productive for me in the long run because I didn't do less, I just changed the tasks I was doing and stopped making them all be outcome and achievement-focused tasks. It really does feel like if you have the time, then you should be spending it on your outcome-focused priorities, like working, studying, exercising. I know for one, I fill my day up fully and kind of go straight from one task to the other, trying to be as quick and efficient as possible and get through them all. And I definitely push tasks like reading and walking till the very end of my day, sometimes not having time for them at all, and sometimes being too tired because I've burnt myself out from how I've spent my day. And the reality is, I'm spending my day like this because I'm only valuing a certain kind of task. I'm only valuing these outcome-focused tasks. But it's really like how a healthy diet needs variety, your day needs variety. And if you want to feel your best and make the most amount of progress and do work to a high quality standard, you have to have a variety of tasks in your day. And something that some people don't realize is that your brain still keeps thinking about things even when you leave the task, and you might not be aware of it, but you're subconsciously thinking about something and processing something, and it can lead to you having ideas and revelations and reflections on what you've been doing, even though you're not currently locked into that specific task. And an easy trap to get stuck in is wanting to make a lot of progress in one area, so you spend a lot of time on it, time that doesn't have an ending. You haven't set yourself an hour that you're going to stop at, and you kind of work yourself for as long as possible to try and get as much done as possible. But I think that really leaves you feeling unsatisfied because you haven't given yourself a specific goal that you can tick off to feel satisfied that you've achieved something. If you're always kind of just trying to do more and more and more in whatever area it is that you're working in, you're not going to feel satisfied and you're always going to feel guilty when you're leaving that task. So this thing called quantifiable goals can come into play, which is a favorite term of my boyfriend. So that you essentially spend less time but you get more done. You know what you have to tick off, whether it's 3 hours of studying or a specific unit's notes done or working for this many hours, you know what you're aiming for and you can get it done, and you know when you can stop and you can go do a different task that isn't outcome focused and still feel like you're being productive and you've achieved what you needed to that day. It really helps me do a slow task that's mindful without feeling guilty if I know what I'm specifically trying to hit in other areas and if I'm on track to hit them or if I've already hit them. Otherwise, I get caught in a cycle of just spending a little bit more time on one thing and ending up spending my whole day on it and never feeling like I've done enough. So to avoid feeling burnt out, I'm going to have these quantifiable goals, but I'm also going to have these slow, mindful habits that I can implement in my day, like reading, walking, yoga, art. These will help me relax and be less stressed, and it will actually add a lot of joy into my day. The term inner child has been trending because activities that aren't outcome focused actually have a really positive effect on your brain and your mood. Activities that aren't outcome focused can be classified as play, which is how it relates to this inner child term, because for children it's really important that they have a lot of time to play because it's just as beneficial for their brain as achievement outcome focused tasks. If you do these mindful activities or fun-based activities that can be categorized as play, your brain relaxes and your mood improves, and it also gives it a lot of freedom to actually still make progress on the other things that you're working on. At the end of the day, everyone will have an opinion on what tasks are productive and how you should be spending your day. Some people will probably implement ones like meditation, and I've been doing this recently because it's been my boyfriend's habit for this month. I've done it a few times a week, and it's funny because I go through the same thing every time I sit down. I go, what am I doing? I have so many other things that I could be spending my time doing. I shouldn't be doing this. And then after a while I relax and I actually enjoy it and I actually get a lot out of it. And I think the more times you do it, you kind of come to expect this moment of anxiety at the start, but you know to not listen to it and kind of give the meditation a chance because you've seen the way it can leave you feeling and how it can benefit your day. Because I personally, sometimes I'll do the classic mind clearing focused meditation, but I like to use it as a time to just kind of sort through my thoughts and think about everything, and I end up having a lot of ideas and feel really inspired about my projects. And I think it's because I actually give myself time to stop and think about what I've been working on. And it's a really great reset for your mind and your body and your nervous system. I always feel like I've kind of stepped off this really fast moving train and everything stops and I'm more aware of everything and I feel a lot more in control of my life. And I know it can be initially hard because it does give you time to think about everything, and that includes challenges or things that you might be going through at the moment. But I think it's really important to reflect on those and either figure out kind of a solution to how you've been feeling about them, and sometimes acknowledging that there's nothing you can do about the situation and that you are best to come to terms with it and accept it for what it is, and that'll leave you feeling a lot more peaceful. Because I think feeling in control of your life doesn't mean actually being in control of specific areas. It just means accepting when you can't change something or do something about it and letting it be and getting on with the things that you can change. So we've got definitely these typical mindful activities that will be great if you implement them in your day, and they will help you slow down. But I also think it's very subjective, and people will have a variety of tasks that they feel like helps them slow down. And for me, in addition to meditation, I love getting ready and going out, especially if it's to go have a little boogie. I think it feels like such a luxury when I can just sit and do my makeup, not being in a rush, and listen to music and look forward to the rest of the night and know that I'm not having to mentally prepare for some big task, and that I'm just going to switch off and give myself some time away from everything that I've been working on. Dancing for multiple hours definitely doesn't get me any physical progress towards my goals, but I think it really helps me reset and kind of feel less restless when I'm actually working, because I know that I've given myself a break and time away from the desk. At the end of the day, people always have their perceptions and opinions on what's productive and what's not, and their opinions on how you've spent your day. I think it's really easy to kind of imagine what you're doing in someone else's eyes and worry if they would think that your day has been productive. But the reality is every single person will have a different definition for what productive is, and will have different tasks that they feel like are productive for themselves, and it's so subjective, and it's entirely just up to what you feel like is productive for yourself. It really comes down to if you value just outcome focused tasks, or if you value having a variety of them in your day, because they will be making a judgment based on how they view their day and the tasks that they fill it with. If you're speeding through life and never taking the time to slow down and enjoy it, the decades of your life are just gonna fly by. Of course, you'll be aiming for your career and your life to be this exponential trajectory that's always getting bigger and better and growing and progressing, but the reality is it doesn't have to be a direct correlation between the bigger and further along your life gets and how stressed and busy you are. Because if you accept that it is, you'll get to an age where you look back and you go, oh my God, I didn't appreciate any of those stages that I was at, any of those achievements that I made. I didn't stop to kind of soak it in and enjoy where I was before the next thing came along. You never kind of gave yourself that well-earned break from your hard work. And not to get existential, but I think I always picture myself as a parent, and I'd want to be able to tell my kids how proud of my life I am, and not just be able to tell my career achievements, but also say that I enjoyed every minute of it and I had time to have fun and make memories and have experiences and have a full life that wasn't just career progress or study progress or like exercise and discipline focus, but everything else that isn't specifically outcome focused that's still incredibly enjoyable and fulfilling and rewarding. That could have a really big impact on how my kids experience their life and enjoy their life. So that's why I really embraced this long weekend at my parents' house. When I walked my dog, I didn't try and get it done as quickly as possible. I sat on the beach, I listened to Harry's new album, soaked it all in, and I enjoyed the weather. I also didn't do the entire weekend alone, because I feel like if I'd done that, I would have easily just slipped into doing work, but I saw friends and family friends, and I had Dom come up and stay with me, and our friends Ash and Keegs, and with all of those people, I went out, I went to the park, I went to the beach. I spent a lot of hours that weren't work or discipline focused, but felt like a really good use of my time because I changed the kind of task that I value. And I think you can only change the task that you value if you change your mindset of your happiness and self-worth coming from your progress and achievements and outcome-based tasks. If you base how you feel about yourself from what you're achieving in an outcome-focused area, you're going to burn out because you're going to be trying to get everything you can from that area and not be getting satisfaction or fulfillment from any other area in your life. And you might try and slow down and do mindful activities, but if you have this underlying mindset, you're not going to enjoy any of the time that you slow down, and you're going to be feeling horrible, and you're going to be feeling bad about yourself that you haven't been achieving anything or feeling productive. And I really don't think that's healthy. I think you don't have something to prove in order for you to be allowed to relax, because there are a bunch of other areas in your life that are just as important to prioritize and focus on outside of your progress. Things like relationships, your happiness, your health and well-being. It really takes time to create a balance between the outcome-focused tasks and the mindful, slow, fun tasks. But it's really important that you start trying, because it'll help you feel a lot more happy and content with your life. And the sooner that you can kind of cultivate this skill of enjoying the beauty around you and the people around you, being able to be present and aware of how you feel. Because if the small moments are meaningful to you and you enjoy them and you can find the positives in them, then your day will be enjoyable, and your week and your month and your year and the decades of your life, because you'll have noticed the positive things and valued everything you did and enjoyed it all, so then follow this recipe of creating an enjoyable life. So this episode's reminder is to slow down and change what you value as productive in your life, and kind of implement some things into your day that aren't outcome focused, to give yourself a variety and help yourself feel more fulfilled, less stressed, more present, and increase the quality of what you're doing and increase how much you enjoy what you're doing. Thank you so much for listening to another episode with me. This, of course, will be uploaded as an episode on my podcast, but also as this video to my YouTube channel that you're seeing now. I think I'm going to keep doing this for future podcast episodes that are just me. I'm going to make them into a YouTube video that you can either visually watch this episode or listen to it on Spotify, and then I will have guest episodes on my podcast that I will just have a basic recording of, and then I will also have videos on my YouTube channel that aren't podcast episodes. But I think this is a nice way to kind of bridge the two together, since I want to start filming my podcast episodes and I want to start posting more YouTube videos. So let me know what you think, and please subscribe if you're keen on the next episode I do of Evolving with Ella. Thank you so much, and I will see you then.